Hey guys, welcome to my channel. It's Sean K and I am back with another video. And as you can tell by the title of this video, guys, it's not a good one. But I did want to jump on here really quick because there's a lot of scientific questions being asked, and I only felt the need to create this video because of that and that alone. By no means am I a gossip channel. By no means am I pro Jaclyn or against Jaclyn. None of that. I don't use her products. I honestly know nothing about the quality of her products, or I only know what I've heard on YouTube about the launches failing and whatnot. However, when there is a need for concern with contamination, that raised flags with me because I am a microbiologist. And like they say, once a scientist, always a scientist. Working with two companies over the past 12 years with creating products from embryonic phase all the way out to when it goes out into the public on the medical side of things, biologics, that is where the FDA gets really heavily involved. So I've worked with them quite a bit. So I'm going to give you in this video just some things that you can do as a consumer, as well as answering some of the questions that were in the comments in some of the channels that I've seen, and also about the FDA, their role, and really what they can do. Okay, so let's get right into this. So I know everybody's seen Raw Beauty Christie's video. That was the first video that I watched that raised some concern. However, her microscope is not a scientific microscope. It is a magnifying microscope, but it does not show you like microorganisms, if there's bacterial growth, that kind of contamination, okay? I know there was hair and beatings and all sorts of stuff. From what a chemist had said, I think one chemist had jumped on Twitter and said it seems like there was something wrong with the formulation, which that can be. Another student doctor did a video and she was talking about a chemist should come on here and talk about what goes on with the product. Here's the thing. Every lab is different. A chemist can't come on here and tell you what's going on in Jaclyn Hill's lab because every lab is not the same. And a chemist is not a microbiologist, so if there is contamination, they can't speak to that. Pretty much when it comes to products, they're great with the formulations and all of that stuff going on, but they work with microbiologists to make sure that things are free and clear of contamination. And if there is to be recalls, microbiologists kind of work on why was the recall, what is wrong with the product. We run extensive tests on products to make sure that the efficacy of the product is still intact. And if not, then we'll start, really doing some major changes in formulations with chemists and whatnot. Okay, so our goal is to really make sure that microorganisms are free out of anything that's in question or that is being produced. The next thing I want to jump over into is I know that Jaclyn responded tonight. She put up documents from the FDA from 2017. That's what I saw in the document. I don't really know if that's going to be enough to really justify products that have just launched, considering that just typical cosmetics kind of degrade with antibacterial agents in 6 months of a shelf life. So again, I'm not getting into the logistics of all of it. I'm just giving you guys some insight and some understanding on, what you can do and how you can do. Until tests are ran where it can be really put to sleep about this whole it's mold, it's fungi, it's whatever people are saying, that there should be no one using product right now, period. Just because if there's metal shards is totally different from bacteria. That's something physical, that is abrasive, that can hurt you. If there's hairs in there, definitely that's contamination. But is it to the extent of fungi, mold, and bacteria? That is left to be determined by scientists, microbiologists specifically, that will determine that. And so I know the student doctor was putting up videos about the fungi in the soil. That is the reason why people are speculating it's that fungi and what this can do to your health, and if you're immunocompromised. And it'll be interesting to see if anybody. Let's take a neutral stance. Okay, let's take a neutral stance until tests are ran in order for precautionary measures to be taken before we start throwing up pictures and talking about people getting sick and compromised immune systems and all that stuff. Yes, I am not running away from cosmetics can be contaminated. It's not just cosmetics. There's contaminants in the air. There's contaminants on our skin. There's bacteria everywhere, okay? I would say wait until there is culturing of these lippies in question, and then you can make your decisions from there. And when I say decisions from there, I mean whether or not you'll consistently wait for the relaunch to buy product from her, or if you're not going to buy product from her anymore. That's what I mean. So definitely, I'm hoping that this is adding value to you guys and giving you some insight. If you do want to be a scientist on some level and do your own testing, there is microbiology kits on Amazon with agar, with Peachtree dishes, with the Q-tips. If you want to swatch the lippies into a plate, make sure that Peachtree dish isn't all the way open so that the contaminants from the air gets in. And you can put that plate in a dark, warm area and see if there's any little cultures that grow up that should be. Cocci tend to be a little white looking and they're in colonies, okay? And hopefully that'll give you some insight if something's going on. But still, extensive testing still needs to be done, whether or not it's staph or strep or whatever type of bacteria. They'll do gram stains and all this other stuff. So I don't want to get deep into that. What I do want to say though is, in the cosmetic industry, there's still a lot of great things going on. And there's a ton of faux pas that happen, not just in the cosmetic industry, but all industry, all fronts. I understand that this young lady has had quite a bit of faux pas happen with previous launches, and yet I'm not to talk to that or defend or jump on anybody's side. What I'm saying is, as a consumer, this really should be an eye-opener for a lot of us, not only in the beauty industry, but also when you're taking meds and making sure that seals are not broken, making sure that none of the products are tampered with. We're so inundated with products today that, and we're quick to get these PR boxes or quick to get the product and do our videos, that nobody's really utilizing aseptic techniques for one, and no one's really looking at products to make sure that seals aren't broken and all this other stuff. Now, I don't know how, I guess it had to be really in your face for you to see that something was wrong with Jaclyn Hill's. But what about the other products that we purchase that is not as evident? Okay, so those kind of things require some looking into as well. And I would say even before you open up a lipstick, if it's not sealed, then definitely get yourself a wipe of sorts with some alcohol, ethanol, whatever you have to kind of sanitize that top layer. It's just going to be, a lot of things in question, period, when we purchase products. But just do what you can do on the level in which you could do it. The next thing I want to talk about is the FDA and cosmetics. All right, so let's talk about the FDA and their role in cosmetics. Now, the FDA does not approve cosmetics. Okay, there's no FDA approval required for cosmetics. There are FDA regulations for cosmetics, but there is no FDA approval for cosmetics. Now, breaking that down, the FDA works under the laws of the Food and Drug Cosmetic Act, as well as the Fair Packaging and Labeling Act. And those laws actually enforce manufacturers to be in compliance with no misbranding, meaning labeling, packaging, nothing to be deceptive. And under the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act, and I'm trying to put this as simple as I can because I don't want this to get all crazy and intricate, but to really answer some of the questions and to bring some clarity to the public. Under that act, it does talk about, unsanitary practices, is need for investigation, any sort of deleterious or poisonous substance in the product in question, or just things going on in the product itself, which is like the hair and the metal shards and that kind of thing going on inside the product, the FDA would get involved in. However, they are not requiring a manufacturer to share their ingredients, products, testing, any of that. In fact, the manufacturer has more leeway than in cosmetics than those in the health industry. So biologics, medical devices, those kind of things require FDA approval, and the FDA is heavily involved in that. But when it comes to cosmetics, they're not. Okay, and that's just me putting it in its simplest form. It has to be really, really terrible for them to really get themselves involved. They don't approve ingredients. They don't approve products. The one thing that they do approve is the additives. If there is a color additive in a product, they will have to approve that. When they really do get involved is if there is, let's say this lipstick was causing like a widespread epidemic. They would go into the lab and they would inspect that environment just to make sure that it meets under the act that I just told you about, the Food and Drug and Cosmetic Act, if it is in compliance. The next thing is when recalls happen, the FDA, unless they really see the need to go to the justice system, will bring a recall in question, will force a recall, but that is not required. They will request of the manufacturer individual to recall their products, and it's up to that person to do that. And if Jaclyn does not want to do that, she does not have to. And that is because these products are not considered a real, oh guys, I'm trying to really be diplomatic here, or because I don't want to get into politics of this. It's not causing any major disease. Would it be smart for her to make a recall happen and relaunch? Absolutely. But at this point, that's not something it seems like she's ready or willing to do. And by the FDA standards, she doesn't have to, unless there is some real major health issue involved. That is when they really step in. So please understand that the FDA, I know everybody's like, oh, they reported it to the FDA. The FDA can step in to a certain degree, but it's not mandated by law that she has to do safety tests, that she has to share her ingredients or safety tests, that they have to approve her product before it goes out into the public. None of that happens in the cosmetic world with the FDA. So if you guys want to find out more about that, you can go on FDA.gov and you can look at the FDA and cosmetics, and you'll see the specific guidelines and regulations in which they follow and expect manufacturers and individuals to follow. But they are a little bit more laid back with the cosmetic industry on the medical side, which I was in prior to being into the beauty side of things. So hopefully this provides you guys with some clarity. I know, like, again, a lot of people were asking questions in the comments below, you know, just we're the scientists and whatnot. And that's the reason why, yeah, I've been a scientist. I guess I'm always a scientist. And now that I'm in beauty and understanding those laws, those regulations, and the concern behind stuff and what you can do analytically when you purchase product is what I wanted to share. So make sure you're looking at your products. Sorry, I have a lozenge. Make sure you're looking at your products, making sure that there's no seals that are broken. Make sure you're wiping your products before using. When it comes to skincare, I would say do patch testing. I know Jaclyn doesn't have skincare, but just a quick tidbit. Do patch testing before you start putting products on your face, just to see if that product is okay for your skin type. And also with mascara, if it's dried out, what you don't want to do is add water from the tap to reuse your mascara, because you've just added contamination into your mascara. Okay, and the thing is, you water down the preservatives every time you add water into anything. You're diluting the preservatives that is keeping that product intact and keeping that product free from harmful bacteria. And even though you're already doing this with the bacteria that's already on you, you increase your chances of pink eye and conjunctivitis, that kind of thing happening when you're putting water in dried down product. So be very careful, guys. Again, this is not a video that I really wanted to put up, and I don't think anybody did want to put up this sort of video. But on the science side of things, I just wanted to give you guys some idea. A chemist is all about formulations. They know nothing about microorganisms. A microbiologist does. So that's the delineation there. But they do work together when it comes to launching products to have everything where it should be. Formulation is intact. It's free and clear of anaerobes, aerobes, any kind of microorganisms before putting it out in the public. There's been a lot of questions, a lot of speculations, a lot of jumping to conclusions about it being fungi, being mold, and nobody has done any testing to make that conclusive. And so I would say, you know, yes, there is the physical evidence of shards and whatnot. So just do not use the product until, I think someone had mentioned to me in a comment that I had sent out that there's some news station that's going to grab some of the lippies and have some scientists look at these products to really determine if they're contaminated. And I say until that's done and there is some conclusive evidence, we can't jump to conclusions of mold and fungi and scaring the public in even more of a panic that they're in already right now. Like that, I would take a neutral stance on that. And again, not siding with any party, but just saying that part only makes sense to me, and not bringing even more into the equation that needs to be when there is no real solid evidence that it does need to be, if that makes sense. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have scientifically related. And also, God bless you, and to all those YouTubers who were, I know Kelsey got on here tonight, that have been slandered and really mistreated by the public because they reviewed the lipsticks. My heart goes out to you all. My prayers go out to you guys. You know, I know a lot of people are sitting here and wondering, can they trust big influencers anymore, because it just looks like they're lying about this, that, and the next thing. And I would say to those people, we're intuitive animals. We kind of know when somebody is fabricating or not giving us truth, and when somebody is. And I think that is the special gifting that we have as spirit beings. And so I would be less abrasive with people who are really being honest about, they just wanted to give their honest review. They had no idea, and they felt upset too that this was going on. So I you know, my heart goes out to those, to you guys, YouTubers, if you're watching this video, and know that I'm standing with you, because my whole platform is aspiring to be a beauty reviewer of products as well, but also lending the other side of the aseptic technique and the proper way of doing things before doing reviews. Like, let's talk about the aseptic techniques involved with sanitizing product before using. Let's talk about patch testing again with skincare. Let's talk about why we shouldn't put water in our mascaras, and why after 6 months we should be really throwing away our products. That kind of thing. I think we're so inundated with product, we're just grabbing everything because we want to do a review really fast. And the danger in all of that is we're not inspecting these products before using them. And then we learn on the back end that something, God forbid, like major contamination or whatever is going on with that product, and you've already swatched it on your lips, or used it or whatever. So yeah, I think we need to incorporate those kind of techniques in our reviews as well, so that the public can incorporate those kind of techniques in their routine as well also. Anyway, again, I don't want to make this long-winded. You guys have a wonderful night, day, because it's like 5:44 in the morning. Have a good day, guys. I love you so much, and I'll see you in my next one.